Believe it or not, there is a land far more mysterious than any you will find in the pages of a fantasy novel or flashed up on a cinema screen. A place where countless heroes have strapped on countless suits of armor to vanquish terrible foes. Where strange and inexplicable events have been happening for centuries untold. And where enigmatic structures pepper the landscape, as numerous as mobile phone masts. What is more, I'm certain you're already well acquainted with this legendary realm. Doubtful? Don't be. Though this remarkable place has undergone several name changes during its long and turbulent history. Today it is known throughout the world as Britain. Welcome to Mystery Island. Have you ever encountered a ghost? If you haven't, the odds are that you probably know someone who has either seen, heard, or felt a chilling otherworldly presence. Few countries can match Britain when it comes to reported ghostly encounters. And there is scarcely a square mile of the country that doesn't lay claim to at least one spectral inhabitant of its own. That aside, there are some locations that boast far more than their fair share of phantom residents. The Tower of London has stood on the north bank of the Thames for nearly 1,000 years. Built by William the Conqueror as a tangible show of strength after the Norman invasion of 1066. The imposing fortress later saw service as a royal palace, a prison, an armory, a mint, and a menagerie. Today, it most famously houses the crown jewels and welcomes around 3 million visitors every year. The tower isn't just the jewel in London's crown because it's where the king keeps his valuables. It's also, by any reasonable measure, one of the most comprehensively haunted sites on the planet. Mind you, that's hardly surprising when you consider one rather sobering fact. More people have entered the Tower of London over the centuries than have ever left it, alive. A visit to the tower might well offer you your best ever chance to rub shoulders with royalty, albeit of the spectral variety. Unfortunately, there's no guarantee those shoulders will be supporting a head, crowned or otherwise. Anne Boleyn was the second wife of King Henry VIII and mother of the future Queen Elizabeth I, and is perhaps the tower's most famous, not to mention well-travelled, ghost. She met her end in what was to become King Henry's favoured method of disposing of those who displeased him. An unavoidable appointment with the royal executioner, usually as a result of dubious charges of high treason. When her overworked spectre isn't busy haunting numerous other locations up and down the country, she has been known to put in an appearance at several spots around the ancient brooding fortress. Over the years, more than one unsuspecting soldier on sentry duty has been unlucky enough to find himself confronted by a wispy female phantom in Tudor costume. In 1864, a sentry challenged the headless queen gliding towards him, ordering her to halt. When she ignored his command, he ran her through with his bayonet. Predictably, the blade failed to have the desired effect, and the terrified man fainted on the spot. He was subsequently charged with sleeping while on duty. By good fortune, other guards and even a very senior officer came forward to report similar experiences and sightings, which led to the charge eventually being dropped. A very similar incident occurred in 1933, although on that occasion, the guards swiftly fled the scene. Moving on, and considerably more briefly, Lady Jane Grey sometimes appears on the 12th of February, the anniversary of her death, queen for a mere 9 days. She was executed in 1554 for high treason at the age of only 17, and her forlorn apparition is one of the tower's quieter but more melancholy manifestations. Hardly surprising given the poor girl's rapid rise and fall. Far more animated is the ghostly performance reenacted by the elderly Margaret Pole, Countess of Salisbury. Beheaded in 1541 after being convicted of high treason on dubious evidence. The Countess occasionally reappears on Tower Green. Not motionless, not gliding serenely, but desperately attempting to evade her spectral executioner as he struggles to deliver the fatal blow. It is, by any standards, a remarkable and deeply undignified spectacle, yet one which she has apparently been performing, off and on, for the better part of 5 centuries. Among the tower's many other spectral residents is a huge phantom bear. Its exact origins are unclear, but in 1251, Henry III received a very large white bear as a gift from the King of Norway. And later, in 1811, George III was given a fully grown grizzly named Old Martin. However, as sightings of the terrifying apparition were reported while he was still very much alive, it seems unlikely he is the source of the manifestations. Its very rare appearances are usually in the Jewel House or close to Martin Tower, where, in 1816, a guardsman was said to have died of shock after a terrifying encounter with perhaps the tower's most fearsome ghost. And finally, if you happen to find yourself passing the infamous Bloody Tower and hear what sounds like agonized groans coming from within, it may be advisable to resist the temptation to investigate too closely. It is most likely the infamous Guy Fawkes, whose ill-fated attempt to blow up the Houses of Parliament is still commemorated every 5th of November. It seems he is now condemned to relive his rather unpleasant experiences at the hands of the inquisitors of King James I. Yet another grisly story etched into the tower's ageless stones. Now, whether you believe in ghosts or not, it might well be worth considering just one thing. When all the many hundreds of visitors have made their way home, the ever-present ravens have called it a day, and the beefeaters have locked the gates for the night. Could it be that the tower's spectral residents are still searching fruitlessly for their own eternal peace? And that's all for this first short introductory episode of Mystery Island. If you've enjoyed this brief journey into one of Britain's stranger corners, do please subscribe. There's much more to come. We'll visit ancient battlefields where phantom armies still clash in the dead of night. Discover 17th century highwaymen who never quite retired. And marvel at mystical creatures whose very existence defies rational explanation. In the next episode, we travel to a quiet hillside in Warwickshire, where, on a winter's night in 1642, several very alarmed shepherds witnessed an astounding spectacle that should have been quite impossible. Mystery Island. There's nowhere quite like it.